playing it.
The show can't start until we crack open a bottle of Revelton. Whether it's their crisp, clean vodka, the bold spice of their rye whiskey, the rich smoothness of bourbon, or the original honey whiskey that started it all, every pour is a taste of craft and passion straight from the heart of Iowa. So pour yourself a drink, settle in, and get ready to relax, laugh, and enjoy the show.
Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
If you want to know where the storm rolls next, you got to read the clouds over old Midwest. Every yard, every basket, every mat that's worn. You learn to see the future by tracking the storm. We're tracking the storm, watching it form. From Jack Trice's courage to the heroes yet born. Hilton lights shining like lightning in the night. Jack Trice way, glowing in the stadium lights. From the sweat in the barn to the roar in the stands. Every cyclone story's written in the land. Yeah, the path gets clearer with each legend swarm. We're keeping eyes on tomorrow by tracking the storm. Dwayne Crutchfield, pounding turf like rain. Big 8 Saturdays, driving through the pain. 2 years, rushing past 1,000 on the ground. Made the whole conference feel that thunder sound. Then Troy Davis hit the hole like a flash. Back to back 2,000, turn records into ash. Heisman nights, but win or lose that day. The cyclone in his chest never blew away. Seneca rolled out, crowd holding its breath. The run cut like lightning through Tex Red West. 112-yard touchdown, 100 yards more. Sometimes a single scramble rewrites the law. So if you want to know.
Well, we're back for another week. They let us go again. How about that, man?
Yeah. I can't believe you guys had me back.
Oh, this is fantastic. You know, last week we had a great show with you, Coach. We got going into some stuff that I knew that would be really, really meaningful type things to talk about. We talked about your book, but not only just talked about your book, you talked about living life, you know, and we got into some really, really cool things about, you know, making the most of your life and how you did and the things you went through. And unfortunately, we kind of ran out of time there towards the end of the show, and we really didn't get to talk much about the Iowa State stuff and then things after Iowa State, which is just as meaningful and just as impactful to a ton of people. So I really appreciate the fact that you could come back. I'm glad that Sean and it was able to produce. Kent had time in his schedule to get back on, so you know, I feel fortunate for us to be able to bring you back on. We'll get into a little bit more stuff about Iowa State, talk about some of the players, some of the famous ones, some of the ones that you didn't know went there, and
not so famous ones.
So anyway, Kent, it's good to see you again, buddy. Always great.
Hey, good to see you, Keith.
With you.
You bet.
Hey, great day for the USA and hockey, huh? What the national pride. I love it. I absolutely love it. We were talking about it before off air, and what a day, what a game. My goodness, man, that was something else.
Yes, it was. One of the things you learn when you're in sports about commitment and about dedication and about loyalty. And one of the things that I've taught my kids, and one of the things that I hope that people around me understood when they were around me, that this is the greatest country in the world. There's no better place than the United States of America. And if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see right at the top, it says, born on the 4th of July in the United States of America. There's no place I'd rather be than right here. And I hate it when I hear people degrade our country. Everybody has problems. Everybody has their own little issues. Our issues are minor compared to everybody else's. And we've been spoiled, I think, in a lot of ways. And so I think we take so much for granted. And when people go overseas and say negative things about our country in front of other countries, it bothers me. But I'm I'm ecstatic and happy and amazed at how great we are, and I'm proud of our hockey team and our skaters and everybody else in the Winter Olympics. So yes, great win this morning.
Just kind of partner on top of that. 2 out of the last 3 weeks, I was in Canada. I was in Toronto for 4 days. I was in Montreal last week for 4 days. I'm going to Vancouver tomorrow for 4 days. Even though they're just our neighbors to the north, and it is definitely a different country. It's amazing the differences between how the Canadians do their way of life and the way the United States do their way of life. It's a big time difference, and there are some freedoms that they don't have to the degree that we do. They just don't. I mean, there are some serious regulations that the Canadians live under that we don't have.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. And you don't recognize it till you just go across. I know, Kent, you and I have gone fishing into Northwest Ontario, and that's nothing. Go into Toronto, go into Montreal. I mean, there are some definite limitations as to what they can do and what they cannot do.
Yep.
And we're not going to get into the political side of things. I mean, we could go on for hours on that too. But we're going to get back into Iowa State.
Let's do it.
And some of the stuff that we all went through, we all got there. And, when I first got to Iowa State, one of the first persons I met was Kent. And he always was the LHTC, leading Heisman Trophy candidate. That's how we
legitimate
got
legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate. Of course, I coined that myself. But,
so Kent was a year older than I was. So he had the pleasure of having an extra year with you. But there were some other players that had even more time than we did. And one of the things, this is a new thing that we're going to put in, and we're going to utilize going forward for the rest of our shows in the weeks and months to come, is a thing called roll call. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of rapid fire some names of the coach, some guys that are very familiar to you. I think some of them you probably recruited, some of them they played for you, some they were on the defensive side of the ball, but your recall is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And your impact and on those guys, because I've talked to a lot of these guys, and they revere who you were and what you did. So they're not just by accident that they're on this list. So, Kent, you want to start? You want me to go first?
you just roll right into that, and I'll follow up.
All right. So one of the guys that I'm going to go with to begin with, you coached him, and we all kind of wondered about him, but he's become basically one of the most successful Iowa State guys that has gone through our system, and that'd be Tommy Davis.
Yes. Oh man, I tell you, whew. Tommy Davis. I recruited Tommy Davis from Altoff High School in Belleville, Illinois, which is the sister city to East St. Louis. And one of the things about East St. Louis is you weren't supposed to go into East St. Louis after dark because it was a dangerous town. But I went over and I met Tommy, a little short, 5'8", 190, really a good high school football player, very good high school football player, a great mom and dad. And Altoff was a private school in that area. And Tommy came to Iowa State. I was blessed to get him. We had a battle with several schools to get Tommy. He came. I only had 1 year with him, maybe two. I think I was 1 year with Tommy, 2 years with Tommy.
Yeah.
I had 2 years with Tommy, his freshman year and his sophomore year. His sophomore year, Tommy rushed for over 800 yards. I think he was like 11th or 12th in the Big 12 conference that year in rushing. And anytime you can be in the top 15 in the Big 12 conference in rushing, you've accomplished something. And one of the runs I'll never forget was we went to Tennessee, a game we should have won. And I remember Tommy ran an 80-yard touchdown, and as he's going in the end zone, the big defensive tackle from Tennessee had tried to tackle him once. Tommy made a cut and swerved back around, and I looked up, and the guy's diving at him and going in the end zone.
Reggie White.
Reggie White.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Reggie White. And that was a game we should have won. It was one of those things about our time at Iowa State. We had a couple of those that would have changed the entire outlook of our season and maybe of the traditions and the history at Iowa State University. And it was just a couple of things. Tommy's a great guy. Tommy Davis was one of those guys that you could not predict. Well, you could have. You could have predicted jail because he was fearless and would do anything and did a lot, to say the least. And some of the things I won't tell you about, I get calls at 2:00 in the morning to go figure out what Tommy had done. At the time, they would call the coach rather than the police. Today, they just call the police. Back then, they'd call the coach, and we'd go down and work it out. But Tommy has become one of the leading businessmen in the country. He owns an electrical supply company in St. Louis, and now he's got 3 different locations. And last time I talked to him, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago, and he's living in Miami now. But that's one of those success stories that you hear about.
Yep.
But I'm so proud of him. He's done such a wonderful thing. And his daughter went to Iowa State and graduated from Iowa State and worked as a temp for me, or a intern for me at Solar Transport when I was the vice president of sales.
Oh, wow.
So it's a wonderful world, small world. And once a Cyclone,
Yep.
always
Always a Cyclone.
You bet.
Tommy definitely had charisma, you know, and it's not surprising that he's doing so well because he was charismatic. He was a competitor. And he had some shit in his neck. He wasn't going to take anything from anybody.
No fear.
Yeah. And I think
it's good to hear how he took that mentality of no fear into creating a company like he's created and being as successful as he has.
You know, one of the things.
Awesome.
And you never know what effect you have on people. You never know what influence you might have. And I went down to St. Louis, and Tommy took me over to his business, and he called all of his office staff over, and we're all standing around, and he said, "You see that clipboard right there on the wall there?" He did have a whiteboard, but he's all my sayings. All the sayings that he remembered from me were on the wall. And he said, "This is the guy where that's come from." That's a pretty good statement. I was really amazed and proud of him. And I told my kids, there's one thing about that doesn't cost you anything in life. It doesn't cost a dime to be nice.
Yep.
Doesn't cost one dime.
that's beautiful.
You can be nice to everybody you meet. You never know when that payback will come down the road, or how much influence or effect you have on them.
You know, Coach, you mentioned Tommy rushed for 800 some yards. I think he was sharing the duties with Harold Brown.
Yeah, that's one of those things that we won't get too much into. But Harold Brown rushed for 240 yards against Kent State. One of his second game of the year that year. And the reason he played every down was Tommy fumbled. Tommy rushed for about 70 yards on the first drive, drove it all the way down the field, got around the 2-yard line. We're going in, and he fumbled. And that's one of the things that Mr. Duncan hated. And he said, "Get him out." The other thing was that Sparky Woods had recruited Harold Brown and Al Sandow, who was our offensive coordinator at the time. They wanted this guy. They wanted Harold really to be the super stud of the next Dwayne Crutchfield or Dexter Green. And so they put him in and called all the plays for him. He rushed for 240 yards that game. Tommy would have got probably 1,000 yards that year if he had been able to play the Kent State game.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess that'll be a segue to my person I want to ask you the next. And you said he recruited him. It was my position coach, who I love dearly, Sparky Woods, a great human being, tough coach. Boy, Sparky got in my butt so many times. I love him. He's one of the most influential people in my life. Loved him, and he was full of fire now, wasn't he? So I'll let you just talk about Coach Woods.
If I remember correctly, Ken, you would imitate Coach Wood rather well, as I may say.
I could, and I won't do that. I respect Coach Wood so much, but we had those player skits, and everybody said, you got. Of course, in your dorm room or the locker room, you could imitate them, and I did it. And I remember one time Coach Duncan had me imitate him in the team huddle after the practice, and I was like, I was so uncomfortable, and I could just tell. So I won't go there. I love him. I love the man. Absolutely love the man.
And he had a beautiful wife. Jean Ann was such a sweet human being, and they're still together. But Spark and I were office mates for 4 years. So we sat back to back, shoulder to shoulder in the Olsen building for 4 years. So he was a great storyteller, very dedicated. Now, here's a guy, and just a little bit about something about the world. I'm born and raised in Tennessee, with the Appalachian State. Young coach gets an opportunity to coach at Iowa State. He comes. I'm a young coach that gets a chance to come to Iowa State, and we bond. We really became very, very good friends. He's traveled, done great things. Head coach at South Carolina, coach for the New York Jets, head coach at Appalachian State. I think he was one of the offensive coordinator for Alabama when they won one of their national championships. Just an absolutely unbelievable human being, someone that you could trust. That's what you liked about him. And that's what you like about coaches when they come to you and they have your best interest at heart. And you can trust them, no matter how tough they are on you, Kent. You take what they have to say with a grain of salt, and you take it and you say, okay, they're trying to make me better. They're trying to help me. So you listen. Sparky was a wonderful human being and could tell great stories. He told a story one time. I'm not even going to attempt to tell it, but he was living in a trailer park when he was going to school at Liberty Baptist college, and they had this 14 by 70 trailer, and he goes into the bathroom and there's a rat in the toilet bowl. Somehow that rat had crawled up through the sewer and ended up in the toilet bowl. And I'll tell you, you will cry your eyes out when you hear Sparky tell the story about the fight he had with this rat. he could bring the house down. He'd tell that story about him, and he's got this broom handle. He's trying to poke the rat back down. The rat keeps trying to get out. He can't. He gets to the edge of the bowl. Sparky knocks him back down, and in Sparky's voice, it's just a hoot. Great coach, great individual. And so, yes.
I remember one of two-a-days, I think it would have been my freshman year, 81. Coach Duncan, and to get over the doldrums of two-a-days, he allowed the players to call coaches by their first name for a practice. And I know Larry Coyer was told the defense, like, don't you dare call me by the first name. And you allowed it, and I think Mac allowed, everybody, but no one knew what Sparky's first name was. And so he came coming down the ramp. He had that hat on like Keith has on. The Gilligan hat.
A bucket
all
hat.
Of a sudden, John Arnaud yells, "Hey, Philip!" And that's when we found out Coach Woods' first name.
Philip Sparky Woods.
Yeah, no one knew. We didn't know. Just Coach. We didn't dare call him Sparky. So just, what an unbelievable human being.
Yeah, he's tremendous. And I'll guarantee you the people that played for Sparky across the country will say the same thing. Just a great human being.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's great. I'm going to go in a different direction. Not necessarily a position that you coach, but I believe you still coached him. And that was Alex Gifford.
Oh, I did. I don't know. Most people don't realize I was the kicking coach at both Iowa State and Minnesota when I was there. So I coached punters and I coached kickers. Funny story about Alex. I'm flying back from Florida and I'm in St. Louis, and Gerald Odell gives me a call. There's a snowstorm just raging in St. Louis. And Gerald calls me. He said, "Are you going back to Ames?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going back there." He says, "Where are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm in St. Louis at the airport. I'm over here at Ozark, ready to get on a plane here in a minute if we get a chance to get home." He says, "I have a recruit that's in the airport. His name is Alex Giffords. He's a little Mexican from Mexico City, doesn't speak English very well. And would you look for him and make sure that he doesn't get lost?" And so I'm wandering around the airport there, and I see this little guy running around, and he's got his little bag, his backpack on, and he doesn't know what he's doing. So I walk up and I said, "Are you Alex Giffords?" "Yes," he said. And I said, "Well, I'm Coach Hudson from Iowa State." Gerald told me, "Oh, Gerald Odell, Coach Odell." So anyway, we met at the airport in St. Louis before he even became a Cyclone. And I got him all set up and came in. But what a treat to coach Alex Giffords. Just a complete sponge. I mean, he was a soccer player, a very decent athlete, but you wouldn't know it if you saw him. I mean, he was short. He waddled onto the field. He was slew-footed. But, man, he had a powerful leg, and he could kick that football. Now, kick the football, coach, he'd say. And he would. He could kick the football. But I had him and Kelly Goodburn and the I can't think of his name. He's going to hate me for that. The kid
Rich Miller.
Rich Miller. Rich Miller was the senior that year, my second year there, and he was a really good punter. He punted 1 year for me, and then Kelly took over. I took Kelly and Alex to a 2-week-long kicking camp in north of Kansas City in Liberty, Missouri. What's that college there? I forget.
Liberty College. William Jewell, yeah.
Jewell. Yeah. Jewell College. I took him down for a 2-week kicking camp with a guy that from Las Vegas who was supposed to be the punting guru of all the world and the kicking guru. And we were down there for 2 weeks, and we stayed in the dormitory, and we went out and ate every night. We had a great time. It was a lot of fun to spend that time with those guys. And I'll tell you, Kelly ended up kicking for the Washington Redskins in their Super Bowl championship several years ago. And Alex tried out for several pro teams and didn't make it. But great memories of those guys. And, of course, we would go out at 2 o'clock before everybody else came out to practice. We would go out and kick balls all over the field, and got to spend a lot of time with them. Matter of fact, Alex was back about 3 weeks ago, and I hadn't seen him since I left Iowa State in 1982. And he came to Des Moines, and we went and had coffee and met his wife. Great guy. He just wonderful human being.
He's qualified. I think it's 16 Boston marathons.
Yes,
he's running 6. So you have to qualify to run at Boston.
Yes, you have to have a certain time.
16 times to get into the Boston Marathon. And he could have gone in 2000 and what was the year of the bombing, but he chose.
Oh, I don't.
He chose not to go into the year that the bombing took place. I think he was injured or something. But he had a great stories that he told.
Big heart. And I'll tell you a quick story. We're down in Oklahoma. And I don't know if I told this last week or not, but we're at Crutchfield, walked across the field and told them we're going to kick their butt, and we did. And we were kicking their butt, and we drove the ball down and left the field, minute 16 to go in the game. And they stuffed us 3 times, first and goal from the 3. And I'm telling you, it was, of course, Crutchfield was snorting and smoke's coming out of his nose, and he hit up in there, and man, they'd hit him back, and so they stopped us. So we sent Alex in to kick the field goal. It's a winning field goal. We make that, we win the game, and he kicks. And if you're a golfer, you'll know what I'm talking about. He shanked it, but it was the worst shank you've ever seen in your life, because I don't think it ever crossed the pylon. I mean, we're on the 3-yard line, and on the right hash, when he hits the ball, it goes so far right, it never crossed the pylon. It never crossed the goal line. It was so far right. And, of course, everybody's just down. It was one of those knives in your hearts and sick of your stomach. We hadn't beaten Oklahoma in 20 years. Donnie's coached at Oklahoma. Charlie Sadler coached at Oklahoma. I'm from Oklahoma. We all know Barry Switzer. Gerald Odell coached at Oklahoma. I mean, it was a big game for us. And we won that game. We beat him, and he missed it. So he comes off the field. They get the ball, 20-yard line. And they run, they were in a wishbone. They hand the ball to the fullback. I'm standing on their 40-yard line on the other side of the 50. And I'm standing there, hands folded, and I'm looking back at the north end zone. And when they handed him the ball, the fullback, they blocked everybody. And all of a sudden, he is running wild like a runaway child and coming right down the field. And there is nobody around. Linebackers, nobody. It is a typical Oklahoma comeback win because he's going all the way. And so I'm watching it and I'm thinking, oh my God, there's nobody here. And I look to my right and Ronnie Osborne, free safety, is standing there. And I'm thinking, here comes the fullback and there's Ronnie. Here comes the fullback and there's Ronnie. And I'm thinking, if Ronnie doesn't tackle him, it's done. But just before he gets to the 50, John Arnaud, the land shark, comes from nowhere, hits him from behind, ball pops out. People forget about this. Ball pops out. Bounce on the ground, Ronnie dives on it. Probably the OU 45-yard line. So, whoa, we got the ball back with time. So we rushed on the field, throw a pass incomplete, hand the ball off, get about 4, 5, 6, 7 yards. Now we have a 61-yard field goal with about 8 seconds to go in the game. And Giff trots out on the field. And when he hit it, I thought it was good. And it was good for 59.9 yards. And at the last minute, I'm telling you that the millisecond, it turned left and it just brushed the outside of the goalpost. It was amazing. It would have been one of the greatest it would have been huge. The other thing that stands out to me about that incident was the first person to Alex Giffords after that last miss was Barry Switzer. He had come across the field, put his arms around Alex Giffords' shoulders because he knew what that meant. He knew how hard it was going to be for that kid to get over missing that field goal, both of them. And he wanted to make sure he let him know that it wasn't his fault, that he'd done a great job, that he almost, it was just amazing to see that. And that's what coaching is all about. The opposition coaches, home team coaches. But Barry Switzer cared about players, cared about kids. That's the way Donnie Duncan was as well.
Yeah. And that,
if I remember right, I think in 2 years, in 82, 81 and 82, no, 82 and 81, 82, Alex had 7 field goals against Iowa, I believe.
Yes.
The week before we played Oklahoma, he kicked 4.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he kicked 4 and Iowa would beat him. He was deadly. He was the best kicker in the Big 8 at that time. He was bar none, no doubt about it. He was the best kicker in the Big 8. Just a great kid.
And to beat Oklahoma back in those days, it's not the same. It'd be like they would have been like the Alabama of of a few years ago. They were always perennial number 1, number 2. To beat them at their place in Norman back in those days would have been a monumental, an Alabama type victory.
Well,
they would consider today.
People don't realize back then the Big 8 conference. No other conference in the country has ever had a number 1, number 2, and a number 3 in the nation in 1 year. Right. No one. We had Nebraska, I think that year was number 1, Oklahoma was number 2, and Colorado was number 3. That's pretty good. Kansas won the Orange Bowl back in 69, 70. There were some really good. Oklahoma State, the athletes that they had. Wow.
Yeah.
We coached hard, but Oklahoma State had a big pocketbook and access to everybody in Texas. Heard a story that you could go to Oklahoma State and if you got the car keys to all the cars in the parking lot, you could open up a brand new car lot and sell new cars. It was crazy. And they didn't care if you could read or write, because what's the kid that went to the Washington Redskins and was still illiterate when he graduated from college?
Dexter Manley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't care if you could read or write. They'd take you. So
well, they had that receiver. It was a few years later. I think it was my senior year. They had a receiver that put three colleges on probation.
Hartley Dyke.
He accepted money from all of them.
Yeah, he went to he accepted money in a car from Oklahoma State. He goes to Oklahoma State, gets in the car, drives it to Texas A&M.
Yes, right.
That's a story. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what people tell.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff going on back then.
Well, Coach, I'm
Got
gonna
another one.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw one at him. It's Seth would have played in that ball game, that Oklahoma ball game, but he's a Des Moines native and went to Dowling High School. He would have played for, I believe, Jim Williams, but our old quarterback John Quinn.
You know, John was the settling force for our football team. In my first year there was Rubley, Terry Rubley, and Victor Mack fought it out to be the starter. And John was kind of a backup. Played a little bit, not much first year, but then the next year he won a starting job. There's nothing flashy, nothing you can say about his athletic ability. You go, wow, he was so great. No, but he was a settling force. He made very few mistakes. He was always cool and he was always calm. Smart as a whip, knew everybody's position, knew what they're supposed to do, knew everybody's plays, and one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. But having to work and be around John Quinn was a blessing, not only for the coaching staff, but also for the players around him. Because he was John was a true leader. He was a true leader. Matter of fact, I forget where we were, but Dwayne Crutchfield was pulling some of his pouty sessions that he often went into. And so I'm on the sidelines and we're ready to go, and they're in the huddle. And all of a sudden I see Dwayne come running off the field. And I said, "What are you doing coming out of the game?" And he said, "John Quinn told me to get off the field." Get out of the huddle. So that's how John was. John just told him, go to the sideline. Come Dwayne out of the game. I didn't even know he was supposed to come out. So now that's the kind of guy John was. John didn't. He didn't. Yeah, he was a strong, powerful leader. Threw a sweet pass. He had a nice arm. But you could count on him to do the right thing. That was the thing with John.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, I got one more to go on. Ken, I know you got another one you want to go on.
Yep.
This guy, he was there for, let's say, a cup of coffee or maybe a breakfast or something. But he went for you for advice. And I'd like you to talk a little bit about Jerome Benton, and then we'll get a little bit into what he and who he became.
Bullet Benton. That's a name from the past, Keith. I'm telling you, that's one that brings up some great memories. Jerome Benton, 5'7", 175, 165 pounds, really fast. He's like a little water buck. I mean, no one could cover him. I'm just telling you. When he first came out and we're on the line of scrimmage and the ball snapped and he's running, and he was so fast and so quick, and wow, who is that? And so Sparky named him Bullet Benton. The problem with Bullet Benton is he had bricks for thumbs. I mean, you could hit him in the chest, he'd drop it. You hit him in the hands, he'd drop it. I don't know throughout the tour days if he ever caught a pass. It was just so sad because he'd get open and he could streak. He was really fast. So I wasn't his position coach, but I show up in my office one day and he's sitting in my office, and so I said, "Hi, Jerome. How you doing? What do for you?" He says, "Coach, I got a dilemma." And I said, "What's that, Jerome?" He says, "Well, my dilemma is that I've just got an offer to go back to Minneapolis and play, be in this band. They want me to be their road manager and kind of organize and make sure everything works fine and put all this group stuff together." And I said, "So who is this band, Jerome?" He said, "Well, it's a guy I grew up with. You probably don't know him." But I said, "So what do you think? Are they going to be any good?" He said, "I don't know, Coach." I said, "Look, here's the deal, Jerome. What do you want to major in college?" He said, "Well, I don't know. I have no idea. I want to play football." He says, "I only came here because I want to play football." I said, he said, "And I have to ask you, Coach," he said, "do you think I'm going to make the team?" And I said, "You want me to be honest with you?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "No." He says, he said, "I thought that. That's why I wanted to come talk to you, Coach, because I know you'd be honest with me." And I said, "Jerome," he said, "telling you, you're fast, you're quick, you got all the skills other than one." And he said, "What's that?" And I said, "You can't catch the ball." If you're going to be a wide receiver, you got to be able to catch the ball, and you don't catch the ball. And I said, if the only reason you came here was to play football, then there's no reason for you to enroll in college. I mean, you can always come back to college. You can always go to junior college, go to a smaller school and get a degree. And I said, "So tell me about this band again." He says, "Well, it's this guy, his name is Prince. And he's putting together this group, and they play at this bar in Minneapolis called the First Edition. And he said, I said, "Jerome, I'm telling you," I said, "if you think that's going to work out," I said, "go try it for a year. I mean, it hasn't hurt anything. Go try it for a year. Works, doesn't, then enroll in college, get a degree." And I said, "You could do the band thing and go to college at the same time, but you're not going to be a football player." He said, "Okay, thanks, Coach." He said, "I breathed your honesty," and left. The very next time I saw him was in the movie Purple Rain when he's bringing the mirror out to
Morris Day.
And when he said, "Jerome, go get me a mirror," and Jerome went and got a mirror from somewhere and brought it out to Morris Day in that movie, I think, Morris Day in the Time. Yeah. So that's Jerome Benton. Great kid. I was the executive director of the Iowa Sports Foundation. And the secretary comes down the hall and said, "Coach Hudson, you have a phone call." And I said, "Who from?" And she said, "Well, it's a guy by the name of Jerome." Says, "Just tell him Jerome's calling." Said, "You know him from Iowa State." And I said, "Jerome, my goodness." So I said, "Yeah, send it back." So I picked the phone, hit it button, and he said, "Hey, Coach, this is Jerome Benton." And I went, "My goodness, how you doing, Jerome?" He said, "I'm fine." We talked for a minute. And the reason he called me, and this is how things work sometimes, it's crazy. The reason he called me, he had a son that was playing football at a small college that was having problems with his coach, and he wanted some advice how to talk to his son about how to handle the problems he was having with his coach. And this is after, 20 years of not even seeing him, not even knowing. I mean, it was crazy. But he thought of me, called me up. He's in Minneapolis now. He writes plays and does other things and creates music in Minneapolis. And he told me that he does a lot of stuff at the Guthrie Theater. I'm not sure if it's still there or not. But yeah, he got out of the music business and started writing plays. And I think he even had some that were on TV and in the movies. So you never know. You never know.
Well, that's a new target for us to have as a guest.
Yeah, there you go.
Bullet bitten.
Hey,
amazing.
Should we take a quick break? Come back, and Kent, you do your last one, and
yes, sir.
We'll go pay some bills. We'll come back and then do your last one, and then we'll get into a couple other things that Coach has done, and then kind of get into the wrap up phase of that part of it. But
sure.
Look forward to. I know who Kent's going to bring up, so I really look forward to this one. So let's go sell something.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com.
In the heart of Des Moines, one name has stood above the rest: Iowa Beef Steakhouse. Step inside, and you enter a place where tradition still matters, where the atmosphere feels familiar, warm, and unmistakably Iowa. Service isn't rushed. It's personal, attentive, and rooted in genuine care. And before the main event, the freshest start in the city, our signature salad bar, crafted every single day. Then comes the reason people have returned for generations: Iowa beef, hand-seasoned with pride. Guided by flame, forged by heat. This is where flavor becomes legend. Served with the same care it was crafted with, a meal meant to be remembered. And whether the night calls for bold, smooth, or something in between, our bar offers a selection as rich as our history, including the old-fashioned we've become known for: balanced, timeless, unforgettable. And long after the fire cools, the glow of this place stays with you. Iowa Beef Steakhouse, 1201 East Euclid Avenue, Des Moines, Iowa, where Iowa comes for steak, done right. Welcome back to Cooking with Billy and Willie. We're already in progress because great cooking doesn't wait. Today, we're turning things up with Naked Dave's seasoning and sauces.
You know, this chicken and the beef here and all this stuff is fantastic. It tastes fantastic with this Naked Dave stuff.
Oh yeah, dude, this barbecue sauce.
Yeah,
Seriously.
yeah, that's why we're doing the commercial for Naked Daves. That's why we're like pretend like we're naked. We pretend like we're naked, and then we eat. And it'll be a good commercial.
It will be, for sure.
Hey, why are you really naked? You didn't have to be all the way naked. You just were pretend.
It's supposed to, I wanted it to be like realistic, you know, like
Yeah,
Daniel Day-Lewis or
well,
something.
one thing you can keep the chair after this. Where's the director?
What's the problem? What is your guys' problem? It's fine.
What? Why's he naked?
I told him we were doing a naked commercial at your house.
This is like the worst porno flick ever.
It's Naked Dave. Look at Dave.
It really is good.
If you want bold flavor that doesn't hold back, try Naked Dave's seasoning and sauces. Find it at your local Hy-Vee grocery store. Ask your grocer to carry it, or order online today at www.littlewolffoods.com. And remember, Naked Dave's, you don't have to be naked to use it.
I'm glad we got our
comment.
clothes on.
No
yeah.
comment on Naked Dave. I got to try it though. It looks like
Yeah.
we do a lot of cooking, a lot of grilling, a lot of smoking down here. I need to get some for sure, along with Revelton and everything else. But
I know the one guy in that commercial. He's a comedian. He's quite
Really?
a character. Yeah, he is quite the character.
Yeah, he is.
Great guy.
Yeah.
that's funny. Well, I know Kent. You kind of shared with me who you're going to go with, and I don't mean to brush over anybody because we could have gone to Jerry Lorenzen and Marcus Butts and Alvin Baker and James Ransom and King Green and Jim Williams and good Lord, Gerald Odell and Ron Watson. And there's just a plethora of people we could go to. But with all of those guys, it all kind of points to one guy, Kent.
Yeah, Coach. Take all the time we want for this one, but I think we were within a whisker of really at that time doing some great things, and I don't think the man gets enough credit. It's the history was different then. It's recorded different. There was no social media, and we didn't have all the videos and things online to be able to find in archives. But Coach Donnie Duncan, I mean, I that guy, I loved him.
Yes.
I'll tell you a brief thing. When he came to Bloomfield, Iowa, came to our front door, and he's like, he introduced himself. He said, "Hi, I'm Donnie Duncan." I'm like, "Well, no shit," but he was just so unpretentious. He was going to introduce himself, and a lot of coaches would expect you to know them. But Donnie Coach was so just humble, but he was tough. But oh man, I loved him, and I just want your thoughts on Coach Duncan.
The thing about Donnie that people, he was old school. If he told you he was going to do something, he did it. I may have mentioned this the last time we were together that I run across Donnie in one of the high schools in Dallas when we were recruiting. I was at Wichita State. I'd known Donnie because he was assistant coach at Oklahoma when I was recruited, and he was also there when I was coaching at Altus. And so we kind of bumped shoulders a little bit, but not a whole lot. But I was recruiting in Dallas, and he was recruiting in Dallas. And back then, coaches from all over the state and the country would stay at the Ramada Inn in Fort Worth. And so we'd stay at the Ramada Inn in Fort Worth, Bill Parcells, Romeo Cannell, Bobby Proctor, the Texas A&M, SMU, you name it. We'd all get there. We'd all be in the bar. And everybody be telling stories. And one of the things we would do of course, they were all Southwest Conference, Big 8 conference people. Here I was from Wichita State. And they'd tell me the recruits not to waste my time on. And I always loved that. You don't need to recruit that. Yeah, he's going to Oklahoma. He's going to Texas. Here, this kid's a really good kid. And, North Texas or West Texas State or somebody's recruiting him. You got a chance with this kid. So that saved me a lot of time and a lot of trouble. But Donnie said to me one day in the hallway in Garland High School, that Coach Clarence, I'm going to be a head coach one of these days. He said, when I become a head coach, he said, would you consider going to work for me? And I said, yes, I sure would. Shook hands. He went his way and I went mine. Bill Parcells told me the same thing when he was at Texas Tech. We're sitting in the bar in Lubbock, and he told me the same thing. Bill went on to get the West Point job, several others. Never made that. He never made that phone call. But I did tell the story that how Woody Hayes elbowing the kid from Clemson at the bowl game, getting fired, El Bruce getting hired, Donnie Duncan getting hired, bringing in the staff, and then I get the phone call. I'm at Lamar University in Beaumont, Texas, been there 23 days. I left Wichita on January 3rd, flew in to Beaumont, just got set up, got an apartment, got everything going. They just packed all my clothes for the moving company, was moving everything to Texas. And Donnie called on a Wednesday in January, late, and I left Lubbock, Texas. I left Lamar University, Beaumont, Texas, on the Friday, I don't know what day it was, 23rd, 25th of January. Drove to Houston, got on an airplane, and flew to Ames. My moving truck was on the way to Houston, and I'm flying over it as I'm going north. That's how quick it was. I called a friend and who lived in Jackie Ray Simmons, who played basketball at Southeastern, lived in Houston, and I called Jackie and I said, Jackie, I'm telling you, I know this is probably a problem, but have you got somewhere I can store my house, my furniture and stuff? Because I'm going to Iowa. And he said, yeah, they can put it in my garage. So I called the moving company. They took all my belongings over to Jack. I never even saw, I don't know who unpacked. I have no idea. But I flew to Ames. It was that fast, that quick. Donnie was the kind of guy that when I talked to him on the phone that day, and he said, look, I don't have, normally you fly coach in, you take him to dinner, you walk him around campus, you introduce him to different people, maybe even the president of the university to try to get him to come. And, it's kind of a hustle. Mm-hmm. He said, I don't have time. He said, look, we hit the ground running. We're late in the year. We got players we got to hang on to. Have you ever been to Ames? I said, yeah. Wichita State played Iowa State in 1977 at Iowa State. So, yes, I've been there. And he said, I want you to be my running back, coach. He said, would you come? I said, yes, sir. And the next thing I know, I was in Ames. Donnie was the kind of guy that he believed that we could win. He believed it from his bottom of his shoe soles, and he treated his coaches like that. He wanted us to treat the kids well. He wanted us to be independent and do our job and do it well. He didn't overcoach you. He never came down to my position and took over a drill. And I've known head coaches to do that before, in many cases. Donnie never came into my office and said, I think you're doing this wrong. He did one day come in and say, I want to change the pass of the fullback. And we were running, of course, the 47 and the sprint draw, which is the sprint draw. You reverse out and hand it deep to the tailback. And he said, I want to change the path of the fullback. And I said, well, why? He said, well, I don't think he's stepping wide enough, because in the wishbone, we did a little loop-de-loop to get to and I said, well, Coach Duncan, I disagree. He says, what do you mean? I said, well, I don't think that's right, because we're going to block the linebacker and we need to do this. And so anyway, we got into a little bit of a discussion about which was best. And he said, well, come on, I'll show you. So we go out into the hallway. We get Ron Watson's secretary. We get Peg. We got me, Sparky. We're all out, and we go out right outside the Olsen building in that parking lot on the on the west side. And we are lined up running this play. And he's showing me where the step should be, and I'm saying no here. And it's just in football, do you run it at 15 yards or do you run it at 14 and a half? It's important that you get to 15 because of timing. So we were talking about timing and those things. But I stood up for what I believed. He stood up for what I believed. Got all red face at the end. He won. We did what he wanted to do, because when we went back in and that when it was settled, it was settled. There was no ifs, ands, and buts about it. I was going to coach the way he. But that's the kind of guy he was. He wouldn't come in and just tell you to do something. He wanted to give you a reason of why he wanted to do it. The one thing that Donnie did with our staff was that he built loyalty amongst the coaches. And one of the great things that we used to love to do with Donnie, and the first time we didn't know what to do. We're hanging out there, and he says, "Hey, I want everybody to come to my house for dinner Saturday night." It's probably off season, whatever it was. So we're all looking around. Well, what's the dress? And he said, just normal. So we all go. All the coaches. He said, "Oh, bring whoever."
No.
We froze.
He froze up.
All right, we'll have him pop back. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
There
I
you
have
go.
no idea what that was.
You froze up there for a second. You were getting ready to go out to Coach Duncan's.
Yeah, so we all go out there and we have dinner, and I mean it's 2:00 in the morning by the time, because Sparky and Mac Brown and Charlie Sadler. I mean you get those guys rolling. Ron Watson, you get them rolling. And Tony Cole. So we all go home, and so the next months or whatever went by, and Donnie says, "Okay," he says, "we're doing it again. We're having dinner at my house." He says, "But this time, bring your pajamas, because we're not letting you drive home at 2:00 in the morning." So everybody says, well, why don't we just wear them? Why would we bring them? And he said, well, that's even a better idea. So we would have pajama party. Everybody wear the pajamas at Donnie's, and we'd sleep on the couch, on the floor. We'd be everywhere, all over the house. In the end, the way he built the team and the way he brought us all together, I mean, we'd have charged the machine gun nets for him. That's the kind of guy he was.
Yeah.
And it was just an amazing thing that when he resigned. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. I was in Miami, Florida, and got a phone call right around midnight on January 3rd, 1983. He said, Clarence, I just wanted to let you know I just resigned. I'm in Los Angeles at the National Coaches Convention, and I just talked with Max Urick, and I just resigned. It's just like, that was stunning. We were so close at Iowa State, guys, and you know it. You were there. You saw it. I mean, a lot of people don't understand how good we were.
Yeah.
You look at our record and they go, these guys weren't very good. People don't understand how good we were. We had a really good football team. We had a really good staff. We had a really good plan. Little things. Just got the kick that Alex missed at Oklahoma. The interception callback at Kansas from John Arnott. People don't remember that. I mean, John Arnott intercepts the pass. We win the game at Kansas. We go 7-4, maybe a bowl game.
The fumble at Tennessee.
Oh, that's my God. The Harold Brown fumble at Tennessee. We beat Tennessee. Well, I mean, we got them. They're beat. I mean, we just got to get on a knee, pump the ball, and we win that game at Tennessee in 1982. Just the homecoming, Kansas State, 4th and inches on their 17-yard line. I mean, there's 2 minutes and something to go. I mean, it's the game. We're already up 9-7. There's not a lot of time to go in the game. We hand the ball off. It's blocked perfectly. We just made an error and turned left too soon, ran into a pile and got stopped. The very next play, they throw a slant route and it's a touchdown. Little things. If the fullback just runs a little bit, if he runs the right foot of the guard, he would have knocked the goalpost down before he realized it. And we win that game. And there's the Sun Bowl is sitting in the stands. They're sitting in the press box. We win the game. They're going to offer. They're going to invite us to the Sun Bowl. It was just
back then there was 12 or 14 bowls.
There's
12 or 14 bowls.
You didn't go to a bowl game if you won 6 games. You surely didn't go if you won 5. Right. I mean, no, it was a big, big, big deal to be invited to a bowl game. That's why when Iowa State went to the Peach Bowl at the time, it was huge. It was just huge to get invited to a bowl game. So it would have been.
They went 8-3 the one year, didn't get invited
and didn't go. And didn't go. So, I got
a quick Donnie Duncan story. Just real quick.
Yeah, please.
Coming out of it was March of my senior year of high school. No, my junior year of high school. Phone rings. It's 9:00 at night. Phone rings. I answer it. I speak to Keith, and he's butchered my last name. I said, "This is he." He said, "This is Donnie Duncan. I was head football coach at Iowa State University." And I go, "Ha ha ha!" And I hung up the phone. I thought it was my buddies jacking with me. 20 seconds later, the phone rings again. I pick up the phone. He said, "Is Keith Shoggy there?" I said, "This is Keith. Don't hang up. This is Donnie Duncan." I hung up on Donnie Duncan the very first time that he called. And then I went down to the spring game that year. So anyway, Donnie was amazing. An amazing person.
Great human being, great family man, missed by so many. And he went and he became the athletic director at Oklahoma. Then he ran the Big 12 conference when that happened. Created this wonderful thing that we have today called the Big 12 Conference. I mean, he was just one of the initiators of that whole process. So, good man.
He had the Hawkeyes number. I just always felt in the locker room when Coach Duncan, we're going to win. We were going to win. It's just we knew.
We
And
may have,
they
we may have never lost to the Hawks again if we hit a state.
And nobody can say we didn't because we beat them 3 years in a row with him. So, you know,
It went 3-1.
So that's awesome. So, all right, we got through the Iowa State portion of the show, that part of the show. We got a little bit of time left.
If I may, there's a couple of
sure. It's your show.
It's your show. There's a running back that came out of Omaha by the name of Danny Goodwin, who may have had more talent than anybody I've ever seen. Omaha Central, same as Gale Sayers. He had that same open, slow kind of a stride that Gale Sayers had. Was just an absolute amazing athlete. We're down in Texas in '79, and we're winning the game. We're winning the game. We're going to beat. That's another one that we blew, but we're winning the game in Texas down in 1979 when we weren't very good. And Danny had carried the ball that night, and he had just ripped their defense apart. I mean, he was just they couldn't tackle him. He was running smooth. We threw him a little swing pass, and linebacker came underneath and hit him in the ribs. Matter of fact, we left Texas without him. He stayed in the hospital, I think, down there a couple of days. And if not for that, he may have been one of the best players we've ever seen. But he never played. He never played again. Danny Goodwin was his name, and just an amazing human being today. Great guy, lives in Omaha still. But I just wanted to mention him. He was such a great athlete. He was great. He was so good, amazing. King Green was another one.
Yeah,
he could do things.
Alvin Baker.
Alvin Baker. Yeah.
So Alvin and King are talking quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's my goal. One of my goals was to get King Green back to Iowa State for a letter winners weekend. Yeah. The guy is more people are asking, where's King Green? And find out Alvin Baker talks to him on a regular basis. And we got to get King Green back to Iowa State. That guy was awesome. We love that guy.
King Green, I recruited him out of Hialeah, Miami Lakes High School. And we up there and we're having one of those offensive sessions. And it's not full speed, so no one is really getting tackled or anything. So we're lined up there and I'm standing next to Donnie. And the offense is here and we got the defense on the other side. And we're running. It's you know how we used to do that, almost full speed stuff. Mm-hmm. And he says, put King Green in. So I put King in. And handed him the ball. And he did it. He got to the line of scrimmage. And when he got there, the hole was blocked. He planted both feet. He jumped to his left, planted both feet, come off his left foot, and hit a seam in there. And it was so fast and so quick. Honey looked at me and he said, Did I just see that? And I said, yep, you did. He says, my goodness. Wow. He was something. And I talked to King a lot. And he wasn't a bad kid. His mom was a teacher. His dad was a principal in the Florida school system for a long time. So it's a great family background. But you know what? My president in Rouen had a son that he's talked to me all the time about. And he talked about all the great things that he had a chance to do and had all this potential. He had this potential. He's going to be one of the greatest golfers in the world. And I told Larry, I said, you know what potential is and what potential means, don't you? And he says, no. He said, what? And I said, it means you ain't done shit yet. And so he looked at me and I said, you know, until he does something, that's all it is, potential. He hadn't done anything. And so King had lots of potential. And we know we've seen athletes like that. You guys have seen them. Keith, you coached. Kent, you coached. You know, they have lots and tremendous amount of – I wasn't the best athlete to come out of Madill, Oklahoma. I guarantee you, man. There was Larry Nelson, Hilbert Humphrey, Alfonso King. These guys were 3 times better than me, faster, stronger, bigger. had lots of potential, just didn't know how to put it together. And lots of them are like that, or they just didn't get lucky.
Coach, I heard you say something along that line. This will take 10 seconds and then we'll move on. I remember you talking about the people would ask you how fast Dwayne Crutchfield was in a 40. And you said maybe 4.65. You put a ball in his hands, he's 4.5. And it's just 4. Yes. And but that's what it is. That's just some kids are gamers. They can line up and do it, but you put a ball in their hand, you put the helmet on. When it means something, they're different.
They're different. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's so true.
So you get done.
And you know what, guys?
Yep.
You have to have those people to win.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
I don't care how great a coach you are. I don't care how great a scheme you've got. I don't care what you think about your magnificent play calling. Because until that player makes it happen, it's nothing. It's zero. It's just on paper. It's just in your brain, just in your mind. It's just on the film. Yeah. Unless that guy makes it happen, unless somebody makes it happen, it's not worth the papers written on. And you how many times you see a great play and the announcers are going, "Oh, what a great call! What a great call!"
Yeah.
And the athlete made 4 people miss. Right? He broke a tackle, made 4 people miss, runs in the end zone from 60 yards out. And it wasn't a call. It was the athlete. It wasn't the great scheme. You have to have the players to win, and they have to have the mindset that they want to win, that they're going to win. And as a coach, your role as a coach is to build that in that player, to build that confidence, that belief, and then give them the freedom to go do it. And in business, it's the same way. I mean, in business, you've got managers, you got people around you. As a leader, as a head of a department, as the CEO of the company, your role is to give those people a confidence, like Jim Crow wanted, didn't he? It's yours. Coach him. I didn't know what I was going to do, but he said, it's yours. And that's what you have to do is you have to trust people. That's what Donnie did. Donnie trusted us. He gave us the overall scheme and how he wanted things to work, and it was up to us to make it happen.
Yes. Yeah, that was a tough day. I remember the day that we heard about it. That was tough. That was, I mean, you went there for the reason that the coaches, then you ended up leaving and went to Minnesota. Other coaches went different places. I mean, you went there, you coached up in Minnesota for a year or 2 years up there. And then
I was there 1 year.
1 year. And then it was a great year. It was one of those things. Joe Salem, Gerald Odell, as a matter of fact, had left and had taken the defensive line job up in Minnesota, and he goes up there. And Joe Salem has coaches. They're jumping the sinking ship. I mean, Joe had been there for 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and he hadn't been successful. Wasn't going to be successful that next year, and we kind of knew it. But he calls and said, "I'm looking for a quarterback coach," is what he said. And quarterbacks and receivers, which should tell you that right now he was behind the 8 ball, because if he had one guy coaching both of those, it was a trouble. And that's what he said. I'm thinking, wow, that's crazy. So anyway. I didn't have anything to do, and I was really contemplating getting out of the game at that time anyway. So I thought, hey, let's give it a shot. So I go to Minnesota, and I'm coaching. I'm the head coach. I'm the quarterback coach and the wide receiver coach, which included tight ends. So Joe gets us in. Which you can't do that. I mean, it's crazy. Oh, Joe gets us in the office there, and the first thing I do is I'm sitting with Gerald, and I said, God, I got to find somebody to coach receivers. But just so happened, Vinny Serrata graduated at Iowa State University. Vinny had called Gerald and said, hey, if anything comes open, he said, I'd love to be a graduate assistant. So I called Vinny and said, hey, I need a receiver coach. And Vinny says, hey, I can do that. So Vinny comes north. Of course, he's from Albert Lee, Minnesota. So that was an easy move for him. So Vinny comes north and ends up coaching the wide receivers for me. He coached wide receivers, and I gave our offensive line coach, who was from Nebraska, the tight end. I said, I'm not coaching that guy. I don't know anything about coaching tight end. So I ended up coaching quarterbacks, and of course, Vinny and I
was kind of the offense that ran the offense. We had a great time. It was a lot of fun. I wouldn't give a dime for it. But we knew the word was out. We had to win 4 games, and we were going to start probably 7 freshmen on offense and probably 6 freshmen on defense. And in the Big Ten's conference at that time, no. But Joe said, and a couple of coaches that had been on his staff on offense there, he says, I'm not going to name an offensive coordinator until after spring practice. And that spring practice, I'm going to name an offensive coordinator. And so we all knew that Joe was watching everybody. And, I don't know. I didn't expect to be that guy, especially in 1983. Huh? 1983? Right. Who are you going to name your offense coordinator in 1983? Wasn't going to be me, I didn't think. So anyway, we go out there and we go get through spring practice, and Joe calls us in. He said, I made my decision. And he said, he called me in before the staff meeting and said, I'm going to name you the offensive coordinator. And I was like, wow, that's a big deal. Big Ten conference. And if you looked around the country, and I don't, it's not something that you want to. Here's a reason I want to say this is that there is nothing impossible. When you think of something that's impossible, think of this. In 1983, I was the first offensive coordinator in the Power 5 conference. There was not another one. May have been the only one in the country outside of the HCBUs, or historically black and college universities. Denny Green was the head coach at Northwestern, had been there a year or two. I don't think this coordinator was black. I think he was white, but I don't know. Wow. But there may have been 2. But I know there was not anymore. And matter of fact, a couple of years ago, I was in the ESPN magazine. They had a big article on all the black coordinators, and it said Clarence Hudson was one of the first.
Wow. And yeah, I remember when that happened, when you were, because I was still in school, and we were all like, yeah. I mean, we didn't even think about race. We just knew that you were a hell of a coach. We were like, yeah, Coach Hudson. No. Yeah, he's gonna, we were all just like, yeah, that's the right guy. We wish you'd have stayed.
And
could have stayed.
That's the thing about America, and that's the thing about this country is if you just go do your job, do it well. I can talk about things that happen along the way that, whoa, we're back.
Yep.
Hello?
Yep, you're there.
Okay. All I got was spinning circles there for a minute. But the thing about it is just go work hard, do your job, man. But be nice to people. Don't make.
There we go.
Is that me or you?
That's you.
I think it's you.
You think it's me? Okay, yeah. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Anyway, that's that. That's all that. But anyway, we were gonna get fired at Minnesota, and we played Nebraska that year in the Hubert H. Humphrey Dome. They rolled into town. They've got Mike Rozier. They've got the kid from Rogers from Davenport.
Oh yeah, Roger Craig.
Roger Craig. They got Roger Craig. They've got the great
Turner
wide
Gill,
receiver.
Irving Fryer,
Turner
Dean
Gill.
Steichen.
I mean,
go down the list.
And of course, back then you could only travel 55. They restricted the number of players you could take on the road. So their 2.5 deep was better than our ones. We got beat 84-13. You want to sit up in the press box and look down in the Hubert H. Humphrey Dome with 54,000 people there, most of them from Nebraska, and watch the other team score 84 points. Man. It was our defense coordinator had come from the Buffalo Bills, and he was supposed to be this great guru. His name was Chuck Dickerson. And Chuck Dickerson had came up with this defensive scheme that was going to shut Nebraska down. it wasn't the players' fault. I mean, if we'd have played a regular defense and kind of slow played, we'd have probably got beat 50-0. But he wanted to stop them before they got to the line of scrimmage was his plan. And, yeah, it didn't work. 84-30. We scored 13 points against them on offense and threw for over 300 yards. So I mean, the effort was pretty good. Joe Salem asked me at halftime what my plan was for the second half, and I said, Joe, I'm going to try to make first downs. That's it, to keep their offense off the field. If not, they're going to score 100. So yeah, it was pretty good. That was part of the thing that said, you know what? No matter how good you are, unless you have the players and the wheels to suffer through those things, I said I got to get out of this game. I'm going to try something different. Didn't know what I was going to do, but I can coach football. Wow. I mean, passing tree today, Kent, is still the passing tree, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That changed.
It is.
I mean, 4-point stance, 3-point stance, 2-point stance, still the same. I mean, off tackles, still
blocking, still
tall sweep, blocks still the same. So, I could coach today. Kent, you could coach today, could you? I mean, if you had that opportunity to go out there on the field and get down on the grass, there's nothing about it that requires extra learning. I mean, within 2 hours, a guy could walk up to you and talk to you about a new blocking scheme that they think would work, and you could coach it.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, I want to see if my brain, if I'm capable of doing something different. I know I can coach this game, and I want to try to do something different. So I got out. Too late, too early. If I'd have stayed another 10 years, I'd be
salaries.
a billionaire like Max Brown. But now I'm a broke pensioner trying to write a stupid book to make a dime so I can
coach.
So I can eat hamburgers instead of beans.
Can you give us the name of I know we're running, aren't we, Keith? We got
to get rolling here off the.
Can you give us the name of your book, Coach?
Making Your Life Worth It.
We talked about it last week, and then you're the name of your business consulting firm, Coach.
Fox Growth Strategies. Fox Growth Strategies.
And what do you do there? Just in a quick nutshell, there.
We try to help businesses run like a coaching staff. We work with them and try to get them to put all their ducks in a row, to treat their people fairly, to have their strategies right, and make sure they have the end in mind in every one of their businesses. What's the end? What's the goal?
How would they reach out to you, Coach? Is there a web page or?
Yeah, we have a webpage, foxgrowstrategies.com.
Awesome.
They can reach us there.
Excellent. Coach, I can't thank you enough. You and I talked many different times. And you know how I feel about you and love everything you've done for us and everything you've done. My position in my career wouldn't have happened without the help you gave me when I was a little wee old freshman and didn't know nothing from nothing.
Well, thank you.
This book is an amazing book. It tells the stories that you told today, but it's so much more. You're a leader of men, and there's a lot of guys that have many thanks for having the opportunity to run through you, the opportunity to live part of their life.
Well, the hope is, and the reason I wrote the book is just there's no excuse. There's just not an excuse. You can't blame this. You can't blame 100 years ago. You can't blame somebody the way somebody else thinks. You can't say, well, he thinks that's of me. I don't care. Well, he's going to, I don't, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Just in this country, it doesn't matter. If you go into 5 businesses and try to get a job and 5 say no, the 6th one may say yes.
Yep.
And that may be the best thing that ever happened to you. You just can't ever give up. You got to keep trying. You got to keep working hard. Failure is not fatal. And you learn that as an athlete. You learn that as a coach. Iowa State loses to BYU. They beat Arizona, they're still going to be a number 1 seed. Failure is not fatal. You just can't believe it is. It's just an opportunity to get better.
Right.
Awesome.
Perfect way to
Thank
end
you
it.
so much, Coach.
Coach, we love you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
I love you too, guys. So, hey, we got to play golf.
Yes, sir.
Summer's coming.
Come on.
It snowed here today, though.
Oh, it's 15 degrees here. So.
All right.
Hey,
Take us away,
you know what?
Sean. Take us away.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
We're tracking the storm, watching it form from Crutchfield's grind to Troy's 2K storms. Seneca spinning through the rain and roar, turning third and long to forevermore. From Jack's I will to the Campbell years, we build up hope out of heartbreaking tears. Yeah, the line holds strong and the faith's reborn. We're keeping eyes on tomorrow by tracking the storm. Here comes Johnny Orr, fist up in the air. Tonight's show theme and that Hilton stare. Took a quiet Coliseum, turned it into a spare. Where top 25 giants learned to fear this well. Hilton magic swirling like a cyclone wind. We're nine on the pivot, made the rafters spin. Step back, jumper, drive down the lane.